All right, welcome to our Wednesday class. How's everybody doing?
Hello, doing fine.
I hear an echo. I'm not sure.
Is that on mute? No, it's not.
Yeah, somebody might have two phones in there.
That's my bad.
Oh, it's
Shalom.
okay. Shalom. All right, so as always, we have class every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll get right into it. I'm excited about today. I'll pass it over to Leonard. What's going on?
Oh, shalom, everybody. Yeah.
Shalom.
What I was doing was I'm picking back up where we left off on Saturday about the Giants. Just doing part two. It just kind of close everything out and make it all make sense. But when we stopped on Saturday, we had went into the Q&A, and I had a question that was posed to me about the lame and the blind. So I want to add something to that, and then I'm going to go back into dealing with the Giants. So it's we know that the Most High always deals with signs, and so we know in Deuteronomy 28, the curses. He says in Deuteronomy 28 and 46 that the signs that was in the curses, the signs of the curses, is going to be on the Israelites to identify them. And so we today we didn't figure out that we the Israelites, because a lot of it is from Deuteronomy 28. We looked at the curses and those signs on us, so we know that we the Israelites. But it's also Cain has signs on him. We know that the Most High cursed Cain, and the way that he cursed Cain was he took the melanin out of him and left him white. And so you said, what to me, he was angry because Cain had killed his brother Abel. And if you go to Numbers, when Aaron and Miriam was talking against Moses, he came down in the pillar of a cloud in front of the tabernacle and called Miriam and Moses out, and he cursed Miriam. He took the melanin out of Miriam, and then Moses prayed for her. And so he said that he's gonna take her outside the camp for 7 days, and then on the 8th day bring her back, and he returned her flesh back to her. He put the melanin back in her. But when you understand that, that's what he did to Cain. But he never returned. He never returned the melanin back to Cain. He left Cain white. So you say, what you saying? So Cain, the signs that identify Cain's seed in these last days is they return white, and then they have the defects. They have defects on them because of the melanin. And this people and kids being born lame, crippled, humpback, blind, all that. Those are the signs. Just like it's signs on the Israelites, the signs on Cain's seed. And these defects are coming from angelic beings' DNA mixing with human DNA. It don't mix. These are side effects of it. Because it's just like when, in the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and the earth, then he caused we know that the whole earth was covered with water. Then he caused the water to come up out of caused the land to come up out of the water. And he said the land was good. And when he formed Adam and breathed life in him, Adam didn't have no defects. So you have to ask yourself where the defects come from. And it comes from Genesis 6. And the angels came down and introduced the angelic DNA to humans. And it don't mix. Got side effects.
So everything that the Lord created was good.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if the man that he created was good, like you just said, where the defects come from?
when the serpent slept with Cain.
Right.
Just like in Genesis 6, when
the angels
they came down and slept with them, they introduced another type of flesh that wasn't supposed to be introduced on the earth, and the products of it, which is the children of that, they had defects, and we see it today in the people now that's tall, extremely tall. They have all kinds of defects, you know. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna pick back up with the Giants, unless somebody have a question. Anybody got a question? So I'm gonna pick back up with the Giants. I'm gonna elaborate a little more on the order of the Giants. Says that these Giants are also called Gibrim, which is Gibborim. He said the Giants were the Nephilim, the offspring of the sons of God, which is the Watchers, the fallen angels. And then I told you about there was another race of giants called Ejo or Elu. And so the order of things was that fallen angels came down and slept with, first of all, the serpent slept with Eve and got Cain's seed. The Watchers came down and slept with the daughter of Cain. And that's how you get the Anakim or the Nephilim, which is also the Gibrim. And then the Gibrim, the giants started sleeping with human women. And that's how you get the Elu. They are, the Elu are the children, the Nephilim, which are the children of the giants. Okay? And then, so it says, the giants and the giants had the spirit of their fathers, which is the fallen angels, but mortal bodies like their mothers. These Nephilim offspring of the fallen angels had human bodies, and it made sense that they could also reproduce with human women, because they was more, because of the human part of it, they was more susceptible, more apt to deal with humans than they was with angels. So that's where they went. They went to the human women. So in fact, they were a closer physical match, which today is called DNA match with humans, than with their fathers, the fallen angels. The Bible called giants men of renown in Genesis. Therefore, as we have explained, if they were men, then they could reproduce. Read Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 4, which says, Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. It says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children unto them, the same became mighty men, which were old, men of renown. So that verse makes sense with the information that's being put out. So, and it says in Genesis chapter 6 and 1, it says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born unto them. We know that those daughters are, it says daughters of men, but it's actually the daughters of Cain. The Nephilim giants mated with daughters of Cain, and their children were called the Elu, or sometimes they were known by the name of Eljo, Ejo, like I was saying before. So if you go to Genesis, Jubilees chapter 7, I'm going to read Jubilees chapter 7, verse 5. It explains a lot about what happened. What really went on. So I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to try to make sense of it. So Jubilees chapter 7, verse 1 says, in the 7th week, in the first year of it, in this Jubilee, Noah planted vines on the mountains of which the ark had rested, named Lubar, on the Ararat mountains, and they produced fruit in the 4th year. And he guarded their fruit and gathered it in that year in the 7th month. He made wine from it and put it into a vessel and kept it until the 5th year, until the 1st day of the new moon of the 1st month, as he celebrated with joy the day of his feast. And he made a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, 1 young ox, 1 ram, and 7 sheep, each a year old, and a calf, kid of a goat, that he might make atonement therefore for himself and his son. He prepared the kid first and placed some of his blood on the flesh that was on the altar that he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he had made the burnt sacrifice, and the ox and the ram and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh on the altar. He placed all their offerings mingled with oil on it, and afterwards he sprinkled wine on the fire which he had previously been made on the altar, and he placed incense on the altar and caused a sweet odor to rise up, which is acceptable before the Lord his God. And he rejoiced, and he and his children drank the wine with joy. And it was evening, and he went into the tent, and being drunken, he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept. And Ham saw Noah his father naked, and went out and told his 2 brothers, ridiculed his father to his 2 brothers who were outside. Shem took his garment and arose, he and Japheth, and they placed a garment on their shoulders and went backwards to cover the shame of their father, and their faces were backwards. Noah awoke from his sleep and knew all the abuse that his younger son had done to him, and he cursed him, saying, "Cursed be Canaan, and he enslaved servant, enslaved servant shall he be to his brother." And he blessed Shem and said, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and God shall dwell in the dwellings of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Ham knew that his father had cursed him, his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed him, his son. And Ham parted from his father, he and his son with him, Cush and Mizraim and Put and Canaan. And he built for himself a city, and called a name after the name of his wife, Nehushtan. And Japheth saw it and became envious of his brother, and he too built for himself a city, and he called it the name of his wife. Shem dwelt with his father Noah, and built a city close to his father on the mountain, and he called the name of the city after his wife. These 3 cities are near Mount Lubor. I can't say his name. Shekabah in the front of the mountain on its east, and Neothar on the south, and Adjam toward the west. These are the sons of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Eliphaz, who were born 2 years after the flood, and Lud and Abram. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Midian, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus. These are the descendants of Noah. In the 20th Jubilee, Noah began to direct his sons in the ordinances and commandments and all the judgments that he knew. And he abhorred his sons to observe righteousness and to cover the shame of their flesh, to bless their Creator and honor their father and mother, and love their neighbors, and guard their souls from fornication and uncleanness and all iniquity. Now here go what I was telling you about the 3 types of giants. So 21, because these 3 things came to flood on the earth, namely the fornication that the watchers committed against the law of their ordinances, when they went whoring after the daughters of men, took themselves wives of all they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanness. So up to this point, we see in verse 20, he was teaching all his sons righteousness. But when these angels came down, brought about these giants, then these giants started, they the ones caused sin to increase on the earth, and they went against the commandments that Noah was teaching his sons. 22, and they begot sons, the Nephilim, and they were all dissimilar, and they devoured one another. And the giants killed the Nephilim, and the Nephilim killed the Ejah, and the Ejah killed mankind. One man killed another. One man killed one another. So this was a war, and this is where all the chaos started out to where we are today. This is where it started at. When they came about, they started killing each other, fighting against each other. And then, like I was saying, they were homosexuals. Until 23. everyone committed himself a crime and injustice and to shed much blood, and the earth was filled with sin. After this, they sinned against the beast. This is where they messed with the animals. They sinned against the beast and the bird and all that moved and walked on the earth, and much blood was shed on the earth. And men continued to desire only what was useless and evil. And the Lord destroyed everything from the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds, and because of the blood that they had shed over the earth. He destroyed everything. So you see where this all went down in. So what I want to do is go back and look at some of these verses and tie them into the information that we already have in the King James Bible. So it says in verse 5, it says that he placed all their offerings mingled with oil. Noah doing sacrifice. He placed all their offerings mingled with oil on the altar, and afterwards he sprinkled wine on the fire, which he had previously been made on the altar, and he placed incense on the altar, and he caused sweet odor to rise up, which was acceptable before the Lord his God. So my point is, I wanted to say, they tell you that Noah planted a garden. Noah planted a vineyard, and it tells in one, which it doesn't say in the King James Bible. He planted a vineyard, and then he guarded the vineyard so that the grapes can ripen. And then he took the grapes and he made wine with it. So he didn't necessarily plant the vineyard so he could make wine and get drunk. We see right here in verse 5, he used the wine at the sacrifice. He poured it on top of some of the wine on top of the sacrifice. And another point in that verse 5 is that it says he placed incense on the altar and on the fire. And it caused, when the fire connected with the incense, it caused sweet odor to rise up, which is acceptable before the Lord. So what I want to show you is that odor ain't go all the way up to heaven. We know now that the Lord was right there. So he right there watching what Noah doing, and Noah put the incense on there for the smell to go over his nose. And then he say it was acceptable to the Lord. So how is Abraham gonna know it's acceptable if the Lord way up in heaven somewhere? And so take that same understanding and go to when Cain and Abel became of age, and they came to make sacrifices to the Lord, and he refused Cain's offering. But the point is that he asked Cain, "Why thy countenance fallen?" So he can't be way in heaven if he asked him it. He was standing right there. And so what I'm showing you, he's standing right here. And so in the temple, everywhere where they making sacrifices, he's standing right there. They're looking at him. And they communing with him when they make these sacrifices. He there. Okay? And so verse 13 says, Ham knew that his father had called him his younger son, and he was cursed him, his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed him, his son. And Ham parted from his father, he and his sons with him, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. So when you look at that verse, it says that in verse 8 that Ham saw Noah his father's nakedness and went out and told his brothers and ridiculed his father to his brothers who were outside. And we found out that in Leviticus chapter 18 that a man's nakedness is his wife. And so we know that because of that, Ham is laid with his father's wife. And you say, well, how you know that? 13 says Ham knew that his father had cursed him, his younger son. So how you get a son out of that? Why would he curse Noah's younger son because of what Ham had did? Because the younger son is a product of what had happened. And so you go down to this right after the flood, right? Supposedly, they tell you it's right after the flood. But I'm going to read 13 again. Ham knew that his father had cursed him, his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed him, his son. And Ham parted from his father, right? He leave away from his father. He and his sons. Where all these sons come from? So it says him, Cush, Mesrine, Put, and Canaan. So Canaan was the one cursed, but he's the youngest. It's 3 more sons before that. So when you look at that, they all had wives. So he had Cush, Mesrine, and Put for his wife, but he slept with Noah's wife with Canaan and got Canaan. We can see. Yeah, okay. And so, and another thing I want to show you is verse, let me see. Yeah, let me see. Says, in verse 14 says that, and he, Ham, he built himself a city. He called his name after the name of his wife, right? And we know that in Genesis chapter 4, verse 16, we know now that the Bible only gives us what they want us to have. So Genesis 4 and verse 16, it says, Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, that he dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son. So we see Cain did the same thing before the flood. They built a city. These wicked seeds built a city. So it says in 14, Ham did it first. In verse 15, Japheth saw it and became envious. So you say, well, let's look at what's happening. If you look at verse 20, it says, in the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to direct his son in the ordinance and the commandment and all the judgments that he knew. And he abhorred his sons to observe the righteousness and to cover the shame of their flesh. That means put on clothes and to bless their creator and honor their father and mother and love thy neighbor and guard thy soul for fornication and uncleanness. But we see these two right here. 15, Japheth saw it and became envious. That's not what he's teaching them over there in 20. Japheth became envious of his brother, and he too built a city. And he called his name after the name of his wife. And so my point is this. When you understand, go back in history and understand Alexander of Macedon, the Greek, his objective was to leave Greece, and he wanted to conquer the world. But on his way while conquering the world, he wanted to build cities called Alexandria. That's why you got Alexandria cities all over the world called Alexandria. But they was homosexual cities. So what he did was he injected that homosexuality and that lifestyle in cities all over the world. That's where we come from today, with the cities that we have today. He went from Greece, the Isles, to conquering the world and building all these Alexandrias all over the world. Homosexual cities, Greek culture, Greek lifestyle. Okay? And then I wanted to deal with verse 24. I didn't go that far down, but I'm going to read verse 24. It says, I'm going to read 23 first. And everyone committed himself a crime and injustice and shed much blood, and the earth was filled with sin. This is called the giants. Let's say 24. And after this, they sinned against the beasts and the birds and all that moved and walked on the earth, and much blood was shed on the earth. And men, now check this out, and men continuously desired only what was useless and evil. So I want to shine light on that word desire. And check it. We're going to take it back to Genesis in the garden. Genesis chapter 3. Adam and Eve had sinned. And so we go to Genesis chapter 3, but the Most High, the Lord hosts mete not punishment to them for what they done. In verse 16 says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So we see over here, desire is a sin. So what desire he talking about right here with Eve? And it's going to explain what happened. Go back to verse 5 of chapter 3. It says, for God doeth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired. So we see right there, this ain't no apple or orange tree. It's a being, and it's a serpent. And the serpent is the most beautiful thing that the Most High had made. So she's desiring him right here. So desire is only one thing you're going to get out of desiring somebody, and to make one wise. So she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave it also to her husband with her, and he did eat. So we see what's going on right there. So in Jubilees, we see that desire is sin, and then it's covetousness and lusting. And so he dealt with over here, Giants was doing it. And we see that Eve done it. After she encountered the serpent, she had desire, unnatural desire, and affection for the serpent. And so what you have to understand about that is, when I was explaining to you about the 3 types of giants, first you got the watchers came down and slept with I told you, the daughters of Cain. So what's so important about that? The serpent is the most beautiful thing it is. So when the daughters came forth, they was unnaturally beautiful, and that's what draw the angels from their state. Because we know Most High, we already had a 6-day man, and he was created with a woman. They had already multiplied for 2,000 years. It was women on the earth. Them women didn't cause the giants to leave. Any of the watchers to leave their state. But when Cain, these women from Cain's seed, which is from the serpent, which had an unnatural beauty about them, called them out. And that's when the watchers came down, and they was tall and big enough for these watchers to enter into them. So like I was just reading, it says that the watchers bred with Cain, the daughters of Cain, and then after these Anakim, the giants came about, then these giants wasn't as big as the other ones. The Anakim was able to go into regular women. And see, they chose women and went into them, and that's how you get the Eljo, which is three different types of giants. Okay. And so now I want to go into one of the reasons why the giants would never, they never would submit to the Most High. And once we deal with these descriptions, you'll see why they wouldn't submit to the Most High. So if you go to 1 Chronicles, chapter 20, and I'm also going to shine, this right I'm talking about now is going to shine light on the defects that I talked about, and the reason why David's soul hated the lame and the blind. 1 Chronicles chapter 20. I'm going to start at verse 4. Say, and it came to pass after this that there arose war at Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Shibah and Hoshai slew Sipnah, that was of the children of the giants, and they were subdued. And there was war again with the Philistines, and Enan, the son of Jair, slew Ruma, the brother of Goliath, and Gittith, whose spear staff was like the weaver's beam. And yet again there were war. there was war at Gath, where a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 4 and 20, 4 and 20, 6 on each hand and 6 on each foot. And he also was the son of a giant. But when he defiled Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shema, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto giants in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servant. So we see these giants right here got 6 fingers and 6 toes. They ain't, you know what I'm saying? They don't have nothing to do with us. So this is where the defects coming in is. And this is why David abhorred them. This is just an example of the defects. There's all kind of crazy side effects that's coming forth from these from these angelic beings mixing with humans. And so that's where the drama came in at. And so you know, why would the Most High send somebody to heal that? when it came forth from disobedience from the fallen angel. He ain't send nobody to heal them. Heal nobody. So and then so we see right here, this is where a lot of defects came from. Okay, the Nephilim had some of the abilities that they had was the Nephilim had enormous psychic abilities. They can perform levitation, mind control, and they could do remote viewing. They had the power to pronounce and render curses and had ways of knowing and predicting the future. They were extremely intelligent. They knew all about science, agriculture, and engineering. They combined these skills with their powers of intellect to build the pyramids and other great monuments around the world. According to Enoch, they created human sacrifices, they drank blood and were cannibals and taught abominations and taught abortions. So, the reason why I'm telling you is we see this the beginnings of all the wickedness that's on the earth today. You know, and I also showed you that in Genesis chapter 10, that Genesis chapter 10 that Cain's descendants from Genesis 10, 13 through 20 is all giants. So you got all these giants all over the place in Egypt. And one of Cain's sons' name was Mesarine, which is the name of one of the names of Egypt. The original name of Egypt is named after this giant. So giants all over the place. So they let you know this is where Genesis 6 happened there. And so now we see where all this high culture in Egypt came from. Not from the black man, but it came from these giants, and they knew all about science, agriculture, and engineering, and they combined these skills with the powers of their intellect to build the pyramids and other great monuments around the world. Then they the ones that initiated sacrifice, blood sacrifice, and they drank blood. It was cannibals. Then they taught. They had this back to the desire part. They had certain women they desired and lusted after because of their bodies, and they didn't want to disfigure the woman's body by getting her pregnant. So they taught these women how to abort the baby where they won't have a baby and they won't mess their body up. So this is the origins of all that. Okay. Anybody got any questions?
No questions right now.
No questions. Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, I wanted to deal with one thing that we was in talking about the giants. I wanted to shine a light on Og. You know, Og, the giant Og of Bashan. So Og was an Amorite king of Bashan, who, along with his army, was slain by Moses and his men at the battle of Indre. That's in Numbers. Og is introduced in the book of Numbers, like his neighbor Shion of Heshbon, who Moses had previously conquered at the battle of Jahaz. He was an Amorite king the ruler of Bashan, which had 60 walled cities and many unwalled towns, with its capital at Ashtaroth. That's in Numbers chapter 21. And so he had a city called Ashtaroth, and we know that it's a god called Ashtaroth, which is tied to Easter today. And so, like I was saying when in part one, there was that the title of the video is Giants and their effect on history and on Israel. And we see right here now how all this stuff that we deal with today stem from the Giants, and when they was introduced to the world by when the Watchers came down and slept with the daughter of Cain. So they've affected every aspect of our life and every aspect of mankind since they came, right? So I'm gonna read a couple of verses in the Psalms about chapter Psalm 135. Psalm 135 says, 135 and 11, it says, Shion, king of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, all of the kingdoms of Canaan, and gave their land for a heritage unto Israel, his people. So the Most High caused Moses to subdue Shion and Og. Both of them was they was a remnant of the Arabian giants that was left in the land of Canaan, and he subdued them in order that the Israelites might consume their land. In 36 in verse 136, Psalm 136, verse 20. Verse 20, I'm starting at verse 20, 19. Verse 18, and slew famous kings for his mercy, endureth forever. Shion, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endureth forever. And Og, king of Bashan, for his mercy endureth forever. And gave their land for a heritage, for his mercy endureth forever. Even the heritage unto Israel his servant, for his mercy endureth forever. Who remembers us in our low estate, for his mercy endureth forever. And have redeemed us from our enemies, for his mercy endureth forever. Who giveth food to all flesh, for his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks unto God of heaven, for his mercy endureth forever. So we see right here that 24 says that I have redeemed us from our enemies. So the enemies is giants, because he mentions Og, and you wouldn't assume that, but right here, because of what we know, we see that the enemies of our enemies is the giants. And so we know from the book of Enoch that when the giants died, even while they lived, they was tearing and coming up against Israel. And after they died, the spirit didn't come from heaven. The spirit remained here on the earth, and the spirit came up against the Israelites to challenge them. One of those spirits was the spirit that the witch of Endor brought up, conjured up when Saul went to her to find out, to try to get a prophecy. And that's one of the spirits that came up to her against Saul. Yeah. And then the book of Amos, chapter 2, verse 9. Said, yet destroyed I the Amorites before them, whose height was like the height of a cedar, and cedars, and he was strong as an oak. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, his roots from beneath. Also I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and led you 40 years through the wilderness, and possessed the land of the Amorites. So I want to shine. The reason I'm reading this was because of we see the height of these giants and how big and strong they were. So they didn't feel like they had to submit to the Most High no kind of way. But his analogy of them is in verse 9 is that they were like cedar trees and oak trees. So we go back to the garden and we see 2 trees in the garden. So when you look at the analogy, you see that the trees that's in the garden ain't no trees like a fruit trees. They beings. Because right here, in verse 9, we see that these beings, but he's referencing them because they heighten their strength to trees. So when you understand it and go back to the garden, it's 2 beings in the garden, not trees, beings. Yeah. Okay. And so I want to deal with. I was talking about King Og, right? So the reason I was he forgot a lot. Those giants were able. They lived for like they lived longer than Noah and all them before the flood. They could live so long. That was one of the reasons why they wouldn't submit to the Most High, was because of their strength, and they lived so long, and they height. So what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you. I'm gonna shed a light on some of the things that said. It's not in the Bible, but it's in some of the lost books, and it's scattered abroad through over different places in certain literature about Og or Bashan. It says Og was the last surviving giant during the time of Abraham. And then it says that when Abraham or when the king Armathar had captured Lot and took him to Sodom, it's in Genesis 14 and 13. Let's find it. Genesis 14 and 13. Said, and there came out that had escaped and told Abraham the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plains of Mamre the Amorites, brother of Esau, the brother of Anna, and these were the confederate with Abraham. So right here, these are these Amorites. So we know Amorites are giants, but the person that came in and informed Abraham that Lot had been captured was Og. They're saying it was Og. Nobody knows that. And so we know that. So we got giant Amorites right here that's in league with Abraham, right? Well, look at this. Go to 1 Samuel. Trying to find mighty men with David.
And Chronicles, isn't it?
Right.
I think that's in Chronicles.
What's that?
I think it's in Chronicles.
Well,
Chronicles. First Chronicles.
It's at the end. It's at the end of you don't find it right there?
Yeah, I'll find it. Yep.
Yeah. So Abraham had giants that was Amorites, with the giants that was in league with him to help him deliver to get life back. It says and then the Tomar. I don't know if you know what the Tomar is. Tomar is Edomites. We know the Edomites stole the land of Israel back in 143 when Alexander came. Well, their book is, they go by the Tomar, which is an alteration or alternative book to the Torah, which is wicked. But that's what they're going by. So in the Tomar, it says that Og was the only survivor. Og survived the flood, and he got on the boat. He hung on to the side of the boat, and Noah saw him. And when Noah saw him, after all that happened with the water and all that, and he looked and saw that Og was on the boat, hanging on to the boat, he gave him merit and let him on, and he set up a little area for him on the boat. And so if you go back and look at the movie Noah, you'll see where they show that Tubal Cain actually got on the boat. He jumped on the side of the boat. And with this information right here, it was odd. Anyway, so he says Noah had mercy on us and made a special place for him on the ark until the water receded. And then when he met Abraham and helped Abraham, he's subject to the descendants of the Israelites from the time from what Noah done with him. Now he's subject to Noah and Noah's lineage, but he lives way longer than him. So he was living during the time before the flood. He was alive during the time of Noah, and then it says right here, Abraham circumcised him. Abraham circumcised and so now we get down to the point where when Moses came to the land of Canaan, and he heard about all. And then Moses and Israelites was afraid of him, but the Most High called him to the side and told him, don't be afraid of him. But the reason why Moses was afraid of him, because he was circumcised. No other giant had ever been circumcised. So Noah was afraid because he was circumcised, and he felt like he had favor with the Most High because he had been circumcised. So Noah was afraid of him.
You got 2 Samuel 23 and 8, starting at 8.
So I'm going to read 2 Samuel 23 and 8 about we see that there's some Amorites that was in league with Abraham, and which is going to explain what I'm getting ready to read. 2 Samuel what?
23 and 8, starting at 23 and 8.
Yeah, so 2 Samuel 23 and 8, these are the mighty men that was with David. And so before I start reading, if you go to Genesis chapter 6, right quick. Hold 2 Samuel 23. Okay, it says, chapter 6 says, I'm going to start at verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he also is flesh. And his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days. Also after that, when the sons of God came in into the daughters of men, and they were born children of them, the same became mighty men. So giants are mighty men. So David got some mighty men with him, which we know now that it was giants that was with Abraham, that had league with Abraham, some Amorites. 8. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had, the Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Abinadab, Ezai. He lifted up his spear against 800 whom he slew at one time. Well, you can read all this on your own, but all these this is the reason why David survived the onslaught of Saul. He had these mighty men with him, these giants. But the Most High had caused them to submit to David. But let me show you what David went wrong in. You might want to tie your shoes up for this one. But so the last one that is mentioned in 2 Samuel 23, 39, 2 Samuel chapter 23, verse 39. Uriah the Hittite. 30. So Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba, that David had killed. That's why the Most High was so adamant about punishing David, because the Most High caused these giants that was with David, he had to cause them to submit to David, and then David turned around and usurped and hoodwinked Uriah and had Uriah killed. Well, that's why the Most High was on his case. Yeah. So you see that?
Yes, sir. Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
In 39 right here, where it says Uriah the Hittite, he's 30 and 7 and all. Does that mean he's 30 feet tall and 7 inches?
No, I think that's like he's the 37 for the Giants, I guess.
Yeah, the number of men.
The number of men
that they just listed.
That they just listed.
Oh, okay.
Right. So these men right here, when you can read it in your own time, then you see these names that start coming back up in other scriptures. When you read them, these the people. This is what made David so strong. This is what made David so mighty. And so when Saul was trying to kill him, these the men that David had with him. They kept him safe. And this is why when they came up, when David went to the land of Canaan and was killing giants, he had these men right there with him. Most High had put a spirit on them to submit to David. Yeah, and like I was saying was, when you go back to what I was telling you about the different types of giants, well, in Genesis, in the Genesis chapter, you ain't got to go there. I'm gonna read it right quick. Genesis chapter 5. He listened to the descendants of Adam, right? I'm gonna start with verse 6 of chapter 5. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enoch. And Seth lived after he begot Enoch 807 years and begot sons and daughters. See? So Seth had Enoch, but he also had other sons and daughters. Well, some of these people right here, they intermingle with the giants. And so the male seed, the male has a seed. So if a male is like mingle with a giant, you got an Israelite. And then so look what Esau did. Esau married two Horite women, giant women, and he got Eliphaz. So you say, what you talking about? Let me show you right quick.
Cain.
Esau too.
Oh.
Right here, chapter 36 of Genesis. It says, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, see, from giants. Adar, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Abiah, the daughter of Anak, that was a famous giant, the daughter of Zebulun the Hittite, and Bishma, Ishmael's daughter, sister of that. Then you go on down to 9. These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites at Mount Seir. Well, Mount Seir it was a race of giants that called the Horites. And Esau subdued them, they intermingled with them. And then 10. These are the names of Esau's son Eliphaz, the son of Adar. Adar was a giant, so Eliphaz got some of the characteristics. He a giant. Then Ruel, Bashma, she was a giant. Then it says Eliphaz, Eliphaz is a giant. And then Watima, Omar, Zephno. Zephno, he ended up fleeing to Greece. That Zephno is Alexander's grandfather. So these are these giants. And they came about being giants because they intermingled with these giant women.
Yeah, in Genesis chapter 10, starting at verse 13 through 18, right. It shows you that all of the ites came out of Canaan.
Right.
The Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girzites, the Havites, right. The Artites, they all came out of Canaan.
Right, and that's different. When you see at 13 and 14, you got I am on the end of it. That's a different giant, bigger, because they direct descendants from the fallen angels. Then you get the ites. That's when the humans intermingle with them, and they giants, but they're not as big as the other ones. Yeah. So, anybody got any questions?
Well, I mean, I was going to say that this, opens up, your eyes, and it makes you see the Bible in a whole different light compared right. to everything you've been taught. Because, when you read the Bible and the stories that you get, you think that the Israelites are just coming out of Egypt, and there's a few giants here and there, and they're fighting against people and they're warring against people, and you talking about David and all of our forefathers, but it's more than just a few of them.
Right.
They're all over the place.
Right. 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 So if we don't have no questions, then I'm gonna close out on that and go into Q&A. All right. So if we can go into Q&A. You got any questions about any other video or the previous video or whatever? We can bring that up now.
I was going to say real quick. Seems like we have somebody that's new on the line. Would you like to introduce yourself? Say hi. We don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but if you just want to say hey or tell us who you are.
Hello, Jenkins, I'm Arlen Jenkins' wife, and I was just listening, and I really didn't want to say anything, but he invited me to it, so this is my first time just listening.
Okay, and what was your name? Can you speak a little bit louder?
Jasmine Jenkins.
Okay, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Mike, AJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, we ain't trying to put you on the spot. We just, want to say hey.
Okay, no problem.
Got any other questions?
I do have. Okay. Can you break down the three different giants for me again?
Okay, let me find it. It says first of all, the serpent came in the garden and he cohabitated with Eve, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And on the one way to get a giant is an angelic being speak with a woman. That's how you get a giant. So Cain left from there. He went to the 6-day creation, and he got a wife, and then Cain started having daughters. But Cain is abnormally large. So Cain started having these large daughters. And the serpent was the most beautiful thing the Most High created. So he had these unnaturally tall women, the unnatural beauty about them. And so that's what draw these watchers out of their habitation. And they started intermingling with them. So when those watchers did that, that's how you got the Nephilim, the Nephilim. And then the Nephilim started intermingling with women. And that's how you get the
Elohim?
Elohim.
Yeah.
So you have the Nephilim, the Anakim, and then the Elohim. Mm-hmm. And they all giants, but they getting smaller and smaller because of the source that they originally came from. The watchers was taken away.
Right, it's like watering down generation.
They're getting small. It's still giants, but they're getting smaller and smaller. To the day where what happened was it came to a point where people were searching them out, killing them. And so they started. They were trying to get away from mankind, and they started going to these remote places to try to live. And people were killing them off. That's why you don't see them now. They're not as tall as they were, but you can see the characteristics in people today from them. And a lot of the signs is the characteristics and the defects that we see humans have. Because, like I said, when the Most High created Adam didn't have no defects on him.
Right.
And then, so you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, when he made when they created the tabernacle in the wilderness and the temple, they had to make sacrifices. They had to use rams, lambs, and goats. But the Most High told them they couldn't use no animal that had any blemishes on it. So how can he give them a commandment not to have any animals that don't have any blemishes on them if it ain't none? There's got to be some for him to say that. And so he said the same thing about the high priest. The high priest couldn't have no blemishes on him. He couldn't have nothing elongated. So when you say elongated, that's it. If a man have characteristics from the giant, he's gonna have big ears or a big nose. He's gonna have some characteristics from that giant. So the high priest or the king, see, could not have no defects on him.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably something new, but yeah, that's part of the requirements in Leviticus. Matter of fact, the Levites was like that. They couldn't have no defects on them.
That makes sense.
Right. They couldn't be around the Most High, the Lord of hosts in the temple with defects on them. And that was
I'm sorry.
That's the reason why he said he demanded them not to intermingle with the races around them, because they couldn't defile themselves or pollute their DNA.
Right. So are angels big, like are angels? I know they're not giants, but are they like, I don't know, 7 feet, 6 feet?
They giants. That's what I was referring to when I said that he was talking about the king of Basin and Sean and king of Basin, that they was like cedars, like oak trees. He referred to them as oak trees. Where when you go to the garden, he says that the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is that?
Oh, that's Satan.
Satan. So he referred to him as a tree. That means he's huge, he's tall, he's huge.
Right.
Then the tree of life, you know what the tree of life is.
The Lord.
Right.
But they have the ability to transform themselves.
Yeah, they can transform themselves, and anything that the Most High created, they have the ability to transform into it. But a lot of people don't know this.
Wow.
Right. So like I was saying, one of the things that I wanted to shine a light on, something to think about. If I don't know if you know anything about Zeus in Greek mythology, but Zeus had all these children all over the place, and so what he was like a sex fiend, and with men and women, and so he had all these kids all over the place, and what he was doing was those kings, which is we know they're giants, and descendants of the giants, they was always warring with each other. Well, when the king would leave to go to war somewhere, Zeus would show up and transform himself and look just like the king, and go in there and sleep with the king's wife, and she thinks she's sleeping with her husband, but it's him. You hear me?
Yo, I hear you.
So what am I saying? Zeus is Satan.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I think I know what you're saying. So are you saying when the serpent beguiled Eve, is the beguiling part the fact that he appeared as Adam?
No. He showed himself to Eve, but when he dealt with Adam, he showed himself as a woman.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
So you say, what's he talking about? When you get out the line tonight, bring up a picture of Baphomet. The Baphomet is Satan, and then look at the whole picture of the Baphomet. He got breath.
Nah, it sure does.
He got a breath and he got a penis. That's why I'm telling you. That's the origin of homosexuality. So Satan had another characteristic that they took out of the scripture they don't want to talk about. That's Lilith. That's another one of his characteristics. He's the dragon. He's the tempter. He's the serpent. He's Lilith. He's also Lilith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so another one of the lost books that they were taking out is a book called the Book of Adam and Eve. And in that book, it shows how he dogged Adam out. He was shape-shifting and changing to so much stuff that Adam tried to kill himself. And so by the time he gets to self, Adam had told self all that he was capable of doing. And so he tried the same thing with self, and self told him. He told him to get away from him because he know who he is. And then he know that it was only him, his father and mother on the earth. And if he saw anybody else other than that, he knew it was him. Whatever it was, he knew it wasn't. He knew it was him because he knew his characteristics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that stuff had to be searched out.
Yeah, I had seen the Book of Adam and Eve, but I didn't know if that one was okay to get.
Yeah. It's got a lot of information in there. Matter of fact, that's when Adam had. And then you got to stop and think about it. Adam didn't sin. He didn't do nothing in the garden. So when they was cast out, wherever they was at, they had never seen darkness. Because it was light. Light was always there. So then when they was cast out, then the sun went down and darkness came, and Adam was scared. So they went to a cave, and they was hiding in this cave, and then Adam got frustrated because of the things that was happening to him, and he felt like he hadn't done nothing. So he kind of started shunning Eve. So he didn't want to sleep with her. He went outside the cave and slept on top of the cave and left her inside the cave. Well, while he was up there, Satan came and appeared to him as Lilith, as another woman. And then Adam said, "Who are you?" And then he said, "I'm Lilith. I'm Eve's sister. When the Most High put you to sleep and took the rib out of you, he brought me out first." Huh?
But yeah, nah. So did Adam know that was a lie? I mean, I would think he did, cause.
Well, he knew
okay.
Who he was because at that point Adam knew how to deal with him. So Adam threw his hands up. When you understand what that means, that's when you look at the Hebrew lettering, the image of Yah in the Hebrew alphabet is a man with his hands raised. So when Adam threw his hands up and down, he left.
Wow. That's okay.
Adam had finally figured. You got to remember, Adam was born a full-grown man. I mean, he was a full-grown man. So, but he ain't used to stuff he didn't know. And Satan was dogging him out at first until he figured it out. Any more questions?
On the last lesson, I got one more question. The last lesson, I was listening to it before class started, and you had, I don't know if you like, what it was about a bear. Y'all said something about a bear or something.
Oh, a bear?
Yeah, I think it was something about that. But so the animals that we see today, and I'm not saying like all of them, but I know there's animals that they mix breed today, like a liger and stuff like that. But like, I mean, do you know of any of the other animals? Like, I mean, a lion is a lion, right? But you had said something about a bear. I was just asking about a bear, basically, though.
Yeah, well, see, what I was saying was the animals, the carnivores, the animals that attack other animal predators, that attack other animals and eat them. So, like I was saying, in the very beginning, if you go back, in the Most High, it tells you in Genesis 1:1 and verse 2 that in the beginning was the earth was covered with water. Then the Most High called the land to come up out of the water. And so he looked at the land, and he said the land was good. So we know now that we have volcanoes and earthquakes and all that. So you have to ask yourself, where that come from? Because in the beginning, he said it was good. So we know now that those fallen angels, when they came down, they slept with women, and then they asked Enoch to go and ask the Most High to give them a second chance to return to heaven, because they couldn't. Once they went into the women, they couldn't ascend back to heaven. So Most High told them no, because they was eternal beings. They had to touch you in heaven, and they crossed the line. So he told them, he sent Michael and the archangels down, and they bound them and bound them in different places in the earth, inside of mountains in different places. That's what's causing the earth to be violent. The earth wasn't like that. So now, when you understand that, you go to the animals, the grass-eating animals, the domestic animals and stuff. Those animals were created for man. So why would he create lions, tigers, and bears to be attacking them and eating them? So when you look at that, they wasn't there at first. It's all these predators and devouring beings, animals that's on the earth, they came about when the fallen angels came down. Because you got to look at Cain's seed too. All the rest of the indigenous people on the earth, they just like the cattle and the sheep and the goats and all them. They not violent, but it's a race of people on the earth that's violent that attack everybody else. They call them invasive species. And we see in here from the class that these giants was invasive. They started fighting, attacking each other, killing each other, and then started attacking me and eating me. So they wasn't there in the beginning. But they can't. But because of what the Watchers did, they came about. So that's the same thing as these carnivorous animals. The sharks. No, they wasn't there first. They couldn't have been. They predators. They violent.
Yeah, that's how you get your Jurassic Park.
Right.
And so like they took away the source, and they just got smaller.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I think you even speak about that in Enoch, don't you? Say that the nature of the animals changed.
Yeah, and it said everything changed.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that verse when I get back online. I'll read it. Is that anything else?
Oh no, man! I ain't putting no more information up here.
No, it's all right. That me. Is that me? Yeah. What time is that? An hour and 30 minutes? Yeah, we'll close that.
All right, well, if nobody else got any questions, we're going to close it out. And we're going to close it out in prayer. Gladys, you want to pray? No, I'm just joking. Just messing. All right, well, it was fun. And so this is part 2 of the lesson from last week.
The giants and the effect on history and Israel.
All right, so everybody have a good one.
Shalom.
All right, shalom.
All right.